Welcome to the first episode of the NickelJack podcast. I am Jack Nicholas, and this is my co-host.
Nick Dawson. We're from Cleveland, Ohio. We're going to cover a wide range of sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, college basketball, whatever season we're in. Whatever we can cover, we'll cover it.
Yep. I think first, since we are from Cleveland, I think we should react to the Browns uniforms that just dropped today.
That's a perfect idea. Let's do it.
All right, let's pull it up here. All right.
Just happened a minute ago, so I
Yeah,
have not seen this yet.
neither have I. This is gonna be a live reaction. You ready to see these for the first time?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
The thread in these uniforms does more than hold them together. It holds us together. It connects generations, players, past and present, and even an entire region. Because when we all put on that uniform, we are connected by a common passion and pride, a sense of togetherness that has stood the test of time. And this time, we didn't look forward. We looked back.
Okay.
Okay.
To the very thing
This has got me hyped, though.
Not just any NFL franchise, but an iconic one. So as we move into the future,
Oh.
we do so firmly.
Yeah,
Okay.
the color rush
in
are
our past.
part of the.
Oh, I like those. I like those brown and white
Uniforms.
ones.
Oh, let's go. I'm hoping those are the home.
Iconic.
Okay.
I don't know if they will be or not. They're probably the brown and the white pants.
True
No, I
to
do
our
too.
loyal fans, and true to who we will always be. Because once you're a Brown, you're always a Brown.
Ooh, all right.
Okay.
Those are kind of like the old ones.
Yeah,
They're kind of
no.
from like the ones from the early 2010s, late 2000s.
Yeah,
I like that.
And I have my Instagram pulled up. The Browns page has the different styles. You can pull it up
Mhm.
on. I think my favorite right now is the brown top with the white pants.
Oh yeah, I see it. I'm bringing it up on their Twitter right now.
The all white ones are really nice too.
Let's see here. Ooh, okay. All right. Yeah, like I said, those are kind of like the older ones, sort of.
Yeah.
Does it not say Browns on the front though? Like they used to?
Um,
It doesn't look like it.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, because do you remember when under like the NFL logo where the collar is, it used to have like really small text that said Browns. It
Yeah.
doesn't say that anymore. I like those though.
I'm excited. That video got me hyped.
What are the all white ones? The alternatives?
I'd assume so, yeah. And then those,
I
and then
wish
the
it was.
orange are probably the color tops.
I wish the all white was a white top with orange pants. That would have been nicer. I don't know. They still look good though.
Yeah. I've never been a fan of the orange color or the orange
Mhm.
color for like the number, but
The pants look
Yeah.
really good though.
I think,
Color rush are always really good.
yeah.
Maybe they will say Browns on the front. Who knows? I don't know. Because the color rush last year did.
Mm-hmm. Who are you, if you do get a jersey, who are you getting, which player?
Browns jersey was the one that said Cleveland across, and that was the alternative orange, and they never wore they never wore those, and that really infuriated me.
Yeah.
I had Joe Hayden, and then Joe Hayden the year or two after ended up going to the Steelers,
Mm-hmm.
ended up releasing them. So I also have an Odell jersey that also says the Cleveland across it, and that's the brown one.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna do Odell again. I'll probably either do Jarvis or maybe Miles Garrett.
I'm thinking
Maybe Denzel Ward.
because I already have a brown Nick Chubb jersey. I
Mhm.
don't want to do that again. I might go either Ward or Garrett probably. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like those guys are going to stay with the team for a long tenure.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Um.
that would definitely be nice.
So since we're already on the Browns, do you want to discuss these interesting rumors that have
Yeah, let me go ahead
surfaced?
and read this. Let me bring this up here. All right, so a small little report came out this morning with a verified source on Twitter at Mark Malusis, Malusis. Quote, so as I reported this morning on M and W MWF fan, that's a broadcast channel in New York City. Sources told me that Browns and Vikings are in discussions on a trade that would send Odell Beckham Jr. to the Vikings for a second and fifth round pick next year. Trade is not done, but the deal is being discussed. I definitely feel like that's clickbait, even though he's a verified source.
Hmm.
I would believe that. Who would trade one of the best wide receivers in the league for that? And especially picks there from next year, too. You're not
Yeah,
getting anything out of it for this year. You're losing something. He's already been traded to the Browns from the Giants. And him being with his best friend, Jarvis Landry from LSU. They've always wanted to play together. And I feel like that even if that wasn't discussion, Odell would refuse to be traded. He
yeah.
would, or at least he would be very upset. He would show emotion. I think we would know by that. Um, but I don't believe that report at all, unless somebody else starts reporting it too. That's literally the only person I've seen tweet that, and then everybody else is like quoting it and responding to it.
And the thing is like I've read a bunch of replies to it too from people saying that the Vikings couldn't even afford to pay for OBJ, even if they did want to trade for him.
Yeah,
Like it, it's just because people always want to like put drama with Odell, and
yeah,
they always want to say he's not happy, which he's never given an indication that he's not happy here. Everything he's said, everything he's done, he's happy being a Cleveland Brown. He's playing with his basically his brother in
hmm
Jarvis Landry. He loves Baker, Nick Chubb, all those guys. And you got
yeah,
Njoku, Austin Hooper. I think it's just people just trying to start up drama.
yeah. Baker also had a really off year last year, as opposed to his first year holding the rookie record for passing touchdowns. What was it, 29?
I
I think
believe
it was
so. Yeah.
29, 28 or 29. Um, but yeah, him having an off year last year, I feel like is going to motivate him to do even better this year and have a comeback. And I think Odell's really ready for that, and he really likes the young talent in him. So um, I feel like that. Just that report is bogus. I'm hoping it is, but
And
I
I
guess
think
we won't know until the draft at least.
and I think too with the whole Kevin Stefanski being hired, they
Mm-hmm.
he's done a great job of handling players with an attitude, especially like Stephon Diggs when he was in Minnesota before he was traded to Buffalo. Obviously, he was able to sort of calm that big energy down, and they got a ton of production. I think their offense is going to be so much better this year, and I think
Me
another
too. I
year.
think their defense is going to be pretty good. Ended
Hmm.
up finally signing Carl Joseph. I know that became official just a couple days ago, but they were reported to acquire him like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but they finally signed him. He's a good hard-hitting safety from Oakland,
Hmm.
so definitely some depth that we can use, especially in the safety position when we lose. Who did we lose last year? I can't remember.
Demarius
Morgan
Randall,
Burnett and
and we
Morgan
lost.
Burnett.
Hmm.
Yep.
I think Myles Garrett is going to be hungry as well after getting
Mm-hmm.
screwed because of Mason Rudolph and
Mm-hmm.
the league. I think Myles Garrett's going to be hungry. I think this whole team's going to be hungry in general, and I think we're going to do just fine.
Prediction on record. Realistically,
I think Stefanski does like to run two tight end things. I think Hooper and Njoku are going to play well. I think if we live up to our potential, I think we can win 9 to 10 games this year. I do.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
And
I was about to say about round 10-6.
I think we could be fighting for a wild card spot. I think
Yeah.
Baltimore's the team to beat in the division. But
Even the AFC, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we're gonna come back strong this year.
I have an underrated comment for the Ravens. I feel like Mark Ingram's going to have a stellar year this year.
I don't think that's a risky comment, though. I think he played really well last year. I think.
Yeah. I'm going to predict right now he's going to be one of the top 5 rushers in the league this year.
Top 5.
Top 5.
Okay.
5. I'm not going to say where in the top 5, but I feel like he's going to be top 5. Bold prediction.
Okay. All right. So, do you want to get into some of the big headlines that for the NFL this past offseason so far?
Well, we got to start off with the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, that's coming up. I mean, today's the 15th, and it starts when?
The 23rd.
23rd. 23rd through the 26th or 27th?
26th.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Who do you see the Browns taking with their first pick? Or do you see them trading up or trading down?
I don't see them trading up or down. I think they're gonna take. If it were me in that position, I would take Mekhi Becton, the offensive tackle. I think. I am curious to see because Andrew Berry did say that he thinks that offensive tackles that you can really switch them around. I think that's. I think he's just saying that just to throw everybody off. I still think the left tackle and right tackle are two different positions. Left tackle obviously being more important. And I think that they address that need and take Becton at 10.
I'm trying to remember what that guy's name is from University of Georgia.
Andrew Thomas, the offensive tackle from University of Georgia. He saying that he believes that he is the best tackle in the draft, and I mean everybody's going to say that to be drafted as high as they obviously,
can. But
yeah.
I feel like he has a lot of potential. And they have a lot of good football players who come from Georgia. I mean, it's running back you over there.
Mm-hmm.
You got Todd Gurley, you have Sony Michel, you've got – who else am I forgetting?
Nick Chubb.
Yeah. I should have remembered that right off the bat.
And that would be interesting, too, the former Georgia Bulldog teammates playing together.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting thing. I think –
Yeah, Chubb going on for even more. And he'll also be top 5 this year. We're going to have 2 top 5 rushers in the AFC North this year.
Okay. How do you think Hunt's going to do this year?
With Kevin Stefanski probably calling the plays, or at least partially going for 50% of it. I feel like he's going to be more in the passing game like he was in Kansas City. He's going to be used more in that way. And he's more effective in that way too when he's put even in the slot. But yeah, when they're going for a pass play, that's when Kareem Hunt is most dangerous in the open field because he had a ton of missed tackles. I mean, yeah, I know he led the league in rushing 2 years ago. So he also has the potential to do that. But with Nick Chubb also being in the backfield, there's just too much consumption going on there. But I feel like Kareem's going to have a breakout year when it comes to receiving yards. So
I think the ball is going to be spread out a lot more. I think, obviously, like I said earlier, the 2 tight end set, Stefanski, sort of more like a college type of offense. I think Baker will do a lot better in that. He's got Njoku and Austin Hooper to throw to. Hunt, Chubb, OBJ.
He's got so many weapons, man.
I know. I think if you could just if Stefanski, all he has to do is just calm him down and just if he has good protection, goes through his reads.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think he can return back to what very similar to what he did his rookie year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. How do you see the Browns placing in AFC North this year?
I think that they're going to place second behind Baltimore. I still think the league still needs to figure out Lamar Jackson. I'm curious to see with the Antonio Brown Instagram video with his cousin. I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if the Ravens do end up deciding to sign him. That
I
would
think he
make
ruined his career. He ain't signing with another team now.
yeah.
I'd be very surprised if he did. And if he does, it won't be for very long, just like it was in New England.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
think
Do you believe that Pittsburgh will draft a quarterback with their first pick?
It's interesting you say that. In one of our topics with which we're going to talk about in a little bit, Cam Newton and Jameis Winston. I think it would be very wise for them to actually sign Cam Newton personally. I think and I'll state more in depth obviously later, but I think Big Ben, the AFC North, you need like a bigger quarterback, and Cam
Mm-hmm.
Newton's a big guy. You have Juju Smith-Schuster, you got James Conner. I think Pittsburgh, if they're smart, I think Cam Newton's hungry.
Yeah.
I think he's mad, and I think it'd be very smart if for Pittsburgh to take a chance on him.
Well, I think I don't disagree with you, but
Mm-hmm.
you also can't forget about Deontay Johnson. He's pretty good too. He's on the come up from University of Toledo, just like Kareem Hunt. But I feel like it would be very smart if Pittsburgh ended up taking Jameis Winston so we can intercept him more. So
I'll leave him
it's a
alone.
big. He's not a bad quarterback though, but through what was it, a record of interceptions last year? It was insane.
Yeah.
But I honestly, if I were Cam Newton, I would. You have an easy. San Diego has an easy acquisition. Sorry, not
Mm-hmm.
San Diego. L.A. Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
He fits in right there. Philip Rivers is gone. Philip
Yeah.
Rivers is in Indianapolis now. That's gonna be a weird thing to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be really
But
weird.
it's warm. He's used to the weather in Charlotte, and LA is a little bit warmer than Charlotte is, but they're pretty similar,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to going to Pittsburgh and being in the snow belt. But I would love to see him go there. You also got Keenan Allen. You've got Melvin Gordon.
Oh no,
Whenever
they're
they're gonna figure
loaded.
that stuff out.
Their
Yeah.
defense is
So.
their defense is really good. Yeah, they're
Mhm. I feel like Cam Newton would fit in more into a scheme in San Diego. I keep saying San Diego. Fit in more of a scheme in LA as opposed to Pittsburgh. I mean, and you also have. I mean, Cam's a very he's a dual threat quarterback. He likes to throw, but he also likes to pass. He likes to throw, but he also likes to run. And you have James Conner. I mean, you also have Melvin Gordon in LA, but you can really spread people out in LA's offense because they're so versatile and they're just extremely athletic. You can spread them out pretty much any way that you want.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially with a Cam Newton offense, you can go like very consistently with like a 4 or 5 wide receiver set if you really wanted to, and then spread the offense out.
Yeah. It still blows my mind that Cam Newton still has not been signed by a team.
Yeah, I know, me too. He's gonna have a revenge year, especially if the Carolina Panthers are on his schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree, but I don't disagree with what Carolina did. He's just always injured. Just for like the past couple of years, they've just been extremely inconsistent, especially with Greg Olsen always being out of the picture, and just everything that they would be changing with on offense. It's just it was very inconsistent. It was time for them to move on from him.
Yeah, and it's becoming McCaffrey's team too, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that Cam was struggling to sort of accept that. And I think it'll be very interesting to see where. Do you think that the Panthers sign Jameis Winston?
I doubt it, especially being in the same division.
Mm-hmm.
They know what he did last year. They also know what he's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
But I would feel like it would be very unrealistic if Jameis Winston were to sign with Carolina. If I'm gonna use a bold prediction here, I would probably see Jameis Winston either signing with the Detroit Lions to compete with Matthew Stafford for a starting job because he's starting to get a little old, or at least, Jameis wants to start though, but I could see him going in Detroit and wearing the silver and blue, and I could also probably see him going to Denver.
A team I wonder if Jameis is willing to let his ego go. I think sitting behind Drew Brees in New Orleans for 1 to 2 years. I think sitting back, learning from obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Very very accurate. I think he could learn a lot of things from Drew Brees, and I think then that would sort of solve New Orleans's quarterback situation after Drew Brees retires, and maybe if he can learn under him, they could that could maybe be their quarterback for the future.
Mm-hmm. Who do you see going number one?
It's got to be Burrow. It's got to be.
If it wasn't Burrow, who would you say? Probably Chase Young, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think if the Redskins pass on the best pass rusher in the draft, best defensive player, I think that they would be insane. I mean, I've seen mocks where they have them taking a quarterback. I still think that they should give Dwayne Haskins a couple more years just to see if
Oh
he
yeah,
can. And
definitely.
I think it's a no-brainer that it's Burrow and then Chase Young from Ohio
You gotta
State.
give Dwayne Haskins some help on offense too. Like, come on.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. You got to build around him. I feel like Washington should definitely take Dwayne Haskins into a franchise player effect.
Hmm.
Build around him, help him out.
So
Um,
would you want to discuss DeAndre Hopkins and what the hell the Houston Texans and Los Angeles Rams are doing right now?
well, it's not the Houston Texans' fault. It's Bill O'Brien's fault.
I like
Bill
what
O'Brien feeling like he can act like a head coach and a GM, but at the same time, just doesn't happen.
like what I have I have DeAndre Hopkins' stats
Mm-hmm.
from the last 3 years. So last year he played 15 games, 104 receptions, 1,165 receiving yards, 7 touchdowns. Year before that, he played all 16, 115 receptions, a little bit over 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns. The year before that, he played 15 games, 96 receptions, almost 1,400 receiving yards, and 13 touchdowns. I mean, you
You're also
want
having that with Deshaun Watson, one of a very very good quarterback, but you're also doing it with one of the worst offensive lines in the league. And Watson last year was, and I think the year before too, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
he was, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get you obviously have to pay your franchise quarterback first, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But DeAndre Hopkins is, in my opinion, the best receiver in the league. I don't understand why you do not pay this man.
It's going to be interesting to see him pair up with Kyler Murray and Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald being one of the best wide receivers to ever play the game.
That offense,
Um,
oh man, once I think give Kyle Murray another year or two to sort
mm-hmm.
of adapt to the NFL, man, that team's going to be nice. And I
Yep.
think
Sorry. Yeah, but at this point right now, or at least last year compared, Kyler Murray was better than Baker last year, in my opinion.
that's fair. I think I know Houston tried to solve some running back issues by acquiring David Johnson. I think he's a little bit past his prime. He hasn't been able to really get back to much of what he was before he injured himself. His uh, he didn't really he hasn't really done much since coming back from injury. I think obviously they have Duke Johnson, former Brown, who they obviously should be using, and the league should want to use a lot more than just being a third down back. I think Duke Johnson uh, is a lot better this year and has a lot more production than in years past.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. He's used a lot more the way he should be, as opposed to when he was in Cleveland. I just
Mm,
feel like we never really gave him the
no,
bold
I agree.
opportunity to really prove himself.
I have the Houston Texans depth chart pulled up here. So obviously at QB they're fine with Deshaun Watson. AJ McCarron is a solid backup,
Hmm.
but obviously it hasn't been added on here that Brandon Cooks, who we're gonna get into too in a couple minutes, but they're gonna have Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, Kenny Stills, Will Fuller. I just it's a shame what they're doing because they have an MVP level quarterback in Deshaun Watson, and
We can't overlook Will Fuller though. He has a lot of potential.
yeah, I don't. I think right now, I think it's going to be tough for them to win. I think that Tennessee is going to give them a run for their money this year and
Hmm.
potentially win the division. And you have Indianapolis with Philip Rivers. I think it's going to be tough for Houston this year.
Well, I mean, Arizona's depth chart is even. I
Oh,
mean, if you really think about it, it's actually very good. I mean, you have Kyler Murray, and then you've got Brett Hundley as a backup quarterback.
mm-hmm,
I mean, it's not too bad.
yeah,
You've got Kenyon Drake as the running back, and you also have
yeah.
Chase Edmonds. You've got DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and
All big
Andy Isabella.
receivers. All big
Hmm.
receivers.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, he had a stellar season last year.
Mm-hmm.
You also have you have a very solid offensive line and DJ Humphries, Justin Pugh, Mason Cole, Jarrah Sweezy, and Justin Murray. That's a very that's a very solid
Mm-hmm.
offensive line. I feel like they would have. Um, I feel like they're going to have a really good season next year. Um,
I do too.
you also have Zane Gonzalez that led the league in the kicking points last year,
Yeah,
which how ironic it
I
is
know.
to have that happen when we obviously had him last year
Yeah, and he
or the year
couldn't.
before.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Couldn't make anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have the big names on the defense. You also have Patrick Peterson, who's trying to come back from injury. You also have Chandler Jones. Um, yeah, you got a lot of good depth on defense.
Yeah, and I think the Cardinals they were 23rd last year in passing yards per game. Obviously, that's going to go
Well,
up.
that'll change. They'll
That
get into like at least the top 15.
I was going to say top 15, top around somewhere around top 15 to top 10 is I
Hmm.
see their passing offense. Um and they the Texans to uh sort of help themselves. They acquired Brandon Cooks from the Los Angeles Rams for a 2020 second round pick. It's going to be the 57th pick.
Hmm.
I think Brandon Cooks is a very productive receiver. Obviously, he's since his rookie year, his numbers have stayed relatively consistent, being 1,000 to 1,200 yards pass or not passing but receiving per year. Uh, Last year with the Rams, 42 receptions, 583, two touchdowns. The year before that, first year with the Rams, he had 80 receptions for 1,200 yards and 5 TDs. I see him somewhere around a 1,000 receiving yards, around 6 to 7 touchdowns. Obviously, he's going to be that speedy deep play threat but he's not going to be what Hopkins was.
The NFC West is stacked this year. Every single team in the NFC West has the potential to have a winning record. You have the Arizona Cardinals, you have the LA Rams, you have the San Francisco 49ers, who went to the Super Bowl, obviously, and you have the Seattle Seahawks.
That division
that is a stacked division. Yeah.
And then the Rams, obviously, I don't know what they're doing either. You give Jared Goff, obviously you have to they believe that Jared Goff is their franchise quarterback.
Nothing against Jared Goff, but you should be more focusing on Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in the league.
He obviously goes to Atlanta. He's gonna be replacing Devontae Freeman, and I think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to be fantastic this year.
I hope so. We always have high expectations with the same thing with the Browns. You always have high expectations with the Atlanta Falcons, and they always seem to prove themselves otherwise. And with Matt Ryan aging, I don't feel like it would be – I feel like it would be not a bad decision to draft a quarterback in this year's draft for Atlanta and start learning from Matt Ryan. Yeah. Matt Ryan's good when he has the weapons around him and when his team is healthy and when he has a good defense. But, man, this past year or two has not been very good for Matt Ryan.
I think, though, he has Todd Gurley now. Obviously, that's going to take some load off of him. They can give him 250 carries, somewhere around there. He's going to be around 1,200 rushing yards. That's a low prediction, obviously. He had how many touchdowns last year? Dude was a monster. I think you have Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. They acquired Hayden Hurst, the tight end from Baltimore, who really didn't get to. I don't think he got to really showcase himself, obviously, because of the type of offense that Baltimore. I think that Atlanta could be very good this year.
No shout out. They also have Laquan Treadwell too.
Yeah,
has a lot of potential.
I think that Atlanta. I don't think that obviously they're going to be competing for a Super Bowl. I don't think that, but I think that they're going to be a lot better than in years past.
Do you think they're going to compete for a division crown? I mean, don't forget they got Dante Fowler to come over there too with Todd Gurley.
I think they're better than Carolina. I think they're better. Tampa Bay.
I don't know, man. Tampa Bay is gonna be good. I mean, yeah, Tom Brady's getting old, but he's got weapons. He's got arguably, I would say, a top 3 wide receiver duo in the league. Yeah, let's skip to that real quick. Well, not skip to that, but we can transition to that.
Okay.
Your top wide receiver pairs in the league. Top 3.
In no order or
yeah, you can just do no order.
I think OBJ and Jarvis Landry's up there. I don't even know off the top of my head who I would put in my top 3.
Hey, we just had one. We got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You got to put that into your top 3.
Yeah. Um,
especially who they have behind the center now. Be interesting to see him in red though. That'll be weird.
do you think trying to think to the Ch- to the Chargers maybe? Keenan Allen? No, not Keenan Allen. Like no. Um
You can do
who
Savon Diggs and Adam Thielen.
yeah, who's your top three wide receiver duos?
Oh, I just said Jarvis. You've got Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and you've got Chris Godwin and Mike Evans.
Yeah, I
That's my
can't
top three.
I think that that's a solid one. Do you wanna because you were a big fan of this idea, this Tom Brady
Tampa Bay, trying to trademark it for clothing. It's a kind of a clever idea, to be honest. I mean, when that report came out and he was asked about it, he's like, "Yeah, I was kind of surprised when Drew Brees landed in New Orleans. They didn't call it Drew Orleans.
yeah, I
Make
thought that
something
was
out of
funny.
that." Yeah, I thought that was very clever. I'm hoping he gets it because that'd be pretty neat.
I think it's
Yeah,
interesting.
Tampa Bay deserves something of championship caliber too. I feel like he's going to bring a lot of explosiveness, and I feel like Tom Brady has at least 3 or 4 years left in him, if not more.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'd say two at the most, but I think they'll be right there with Atlanta, and I think New Orleans is obviously the team to beat in the division, but I
Mm-hmm.
think obviously it's a smart marketing technique. Obviously, it shows how still he's the top guy in the league. I mean, he
Well, it
goes
also
from
shows that he's excited to be there,
mhm, I think
so it'll be
leaving
interesting.
leaving New England and sort of being marketed that way and coming to obviously to the I think yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll be I hope he gets it. Um let's see here. So I was thinking a little idea. I was looking at some teams who could potentially sign Cam Newton or Jameis Winston. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about obviously the Chargers. I think Cam Newton makes a lot of sense there. I think Cam in Pittsburgh maybe. Big Ben's 38 years old. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think another team who I think it would be smart too is the Philadelphia Eagles. With with Carson Wentz always being a risk of injury, I think.
Could be, maybe it might be time to move on from him,
I think yeah.
or
I
at
mean,
least have a solid backup. So just in case he does get hurt again, they have an easy choice to make.
and I think he's never been able to really play well since his MVP caliber year. I think Philadelphia doesn't really skip a beat. Whenever he goes down, they're able to put somebody in there. I think you got hungry Cam. I think the Eagles makes a lot of sense there too. I think the Saints are another one, but where do you see Jameis Winston and Cam Newton eventually?
Like I said before, I feel like Cam. I feel like the best decision for him would be to go from East to West Coast, go to LA, fit in with the Chargers, spread everything out. God, that would be such a fast offense, be a
Yeah.
fast paced offense, and I mean, defensive side of things, they're pretty stacked too. Um,
hmm
a battle for LA will definitely be something to look out for between them and the Rams. Then, um, I would. I mean, it's very complicated to see where Jameis is going to go because of what he did last year, and teams really want to be skeptical with him. They want to be really careful to what he's going to do. I I don't know. I would smart decision for him. I would probably go to Denver. I'd probably go to Denver because they don't really have too much QB depth. They're going to need a quarterback this year. Um,
You don't think Drew Lock you don't think he can be
I don't know. I mean, no disrespect to Drew Lock. he was a rookie last year, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. He has a lot of potential, but I just I don't know if he's ready or not. Well, I mean, yeah, you can always give the kid a chance. I'd like to see him go to Denver, but you can also probably see him going to. Um, you could probably maybe going to Dallas if they don't figure things out with Dak, or if just things don't work out.
That's a weird. I I don't. Do you think Jerry's gonna take a QB in the draft? I think
I'm not sure. You never really know with him.
it just is. It's interesting. He had a great year last year. You pay Elliott, you pay Cooper. Obviously, you pay Dak Prescott. You got your trio right there for
Hmm.
the next 5 years, maybe even
Hmm.
longer. And I think I I mean I know Jerry's a big pizzazz guy. I don't know if he's gonna try and I've seen things the Cowboys did have Tua. Um they had an interview with him, QB out of Alabama. I think that's interesting.
What do you think about the Tennessee Titans paying Ryan Tannehill big money? Do you agree with it? How do you look at it from the transition from him being not considered even a starting quarterback anymore in Miami to being paid big in Tennessee and leading them to as far as he did in the playoffs last year?
It's a bold decision, I think. Obviously they gave Derrick Henry the franchise tag. I think he's their workhorse guy. I think as long as he's able to produce, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, I think that you could probably just cut that out.
Yeah, I mean
That's
this
something that
is
would happen to me too. That's hilarious.
no, I mean it's the COVID.
It's
This
the
is
COVID life, bro.
exactly.
I I don't know. I'm gonna be. I don't even think this is a bold prediction. This is something that's expected. I feel like Tennessee is gonna be one of the best teams in the AFC this year. They're gonna win the AFC South. Um, they're going to really show people that they really meant where they went last year.
Hmm.
Um, them being 9-7 and going to the AFC Championship game, I would have loved to see them in the Super Bowl. That would have been so
Yeah.
nice. But I see Tennessee going. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10, 11 games this year.
Yeah, I
Derrick
think right
Henry
around
also
there.
could be a top five in rushing yards this year again.
Yeah, I mean you have AJ Brown, Corey Davis.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I
AJ
don't-
Brown had a stellar rookie year. He was robbed the rookie of the year. I feel like he should have gotten it.
They
Offensive rookie of the year.
they have Adam Humphries a receiver. I think. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think
They
around
have a
10,
lot of
11.
potential. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think.
it was fun watching them in the playoffs last year, especially overthrowing just a dynasty like New England is, and like New England was.
Hmm.
They might keep it up, but they're going to have to try to find somebody else that can play the quarterback and replace the talent of one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Yeah, this is gonna be a weird year. I think.
I have
Uh,
Derrick Henry in my top 5 in rush yards. I have Nick Chubb. I have Mark Ingram. I'm also going to have the 2 other ones that I was thinking.
Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley can be right
I'll
there.
he has potential, but I don't think he's going to be top 5. Guess we can come back to that.
Yeah, that can be. We can have a whole sort of segment where we have our list of top 5 to 10 by position.
Mm-hmm.
What other so this virtual draft, how do you think it's gonna go?
Yeah, that's going to be so weird. I feel like some teams are going to have um, some big complications going into this because they're going to feel like they don't know what they're doing, um, especially it being only like a week or two in advance of letting teams know they're going to be doing a virtual draft. I mean, yeah, most teams that are going to be preparing for it, but with this entire pandemic going around, if something goes wrong, then what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Are you talking more like?
Especially like technology wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Browns, obviously big analytic teams, I think that they'll be fine, but um I think I'm not buying the excuse of the GMs are giving right now of that this is going to be like that they can make excuses. I think you
Mm-hmm.
have all the time in the world to really evaluate each guy. All you need to do is look at film. Obviously, you're not going to get those in-person interviews, but I think you should have a pretty good idea of who who you want to draft without really those
I
in-person.
feel bad for the guys that really want to walk across that stage in Las Vegas and be taken to the stage by boat. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
That's no more. Maybe that'll happen another time, but maybe they'll do that in Cleveland when the draft comes to Cleveland. They'll do that in Lake Erie. Probably not. That'd be gross, but
Fire Lake's okay. At least it hasn't caught on fire in a couple of years.
that's true. Yeah. Well, it's never caught on fire. The river has though,
Yeah, that's true.
but we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Um, is there anything else you Oh, did you want to touch on Drew Brees signing with NBC Sports after his playing career?
I think it's a good move.
Yeah.
I think it's a good move. I'm going with Chris Collinsworth and what's the other guy's name? Al Michaels.
Yeah, I think
That's a great broadcasting team.
I
Whenever
know.
NBC is covering a game, it's just they do just a fantastic job at broadcasting, just covering the game in general. Um, I just NBC Sunday Night Football has always been a classic. I feel like he would fit into their scheme just as much as Tony Romo has with CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
I
feel like
think
he'll just be just as good.
yeah, every Fox, CBS, NBC, they have their duo, their big primetime game duos. ESPN has been struggling for a minute. They tried to get Manning declined. They tried to reach out to NBC to try and trade for Al Michaels, and NBC declined. So how did
Good for them.
yeah, how does I mean it's not like ESPN's ever gotten anything really good. Any good Monday night
Well, did you hear
games.
about who they might be switching to Monday Night Football?
No.
They're thinking about switching Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit to Monday Night Football. Yeah, that would
No.
be. So please don't do that. I saw that
No.
report about last week, and they're strictly college football.
I agree
Like
100%. Those are
it
the
would be really weird if they were to fit in the NFL. I really wouldn't see it.
Yeah, I think those guys are always going to be known for college football, and I think if you mess that up, that's going to even screw up their college football viewership and all that. I
Mm-hmm.
think a guy I would like to see is I think that they should give Pat McAfee a chance.
Okay,
I think
Pat McAfee show. That'd be
I
interesting.
I think he's got an interesting. He's a big personality kind of guy, sort of like a John Gruden type of guy, and people have always gravitated towards like the John Gruden like pregame shows, like when he talks to different guys. I think he brings like a lot of energy to the game, and I think I was reading somewhere potential options. I mean, I don't think you go back to Tessitore and McFarland. I thought that was just. I don't think it worked.
Just
I
get Booger McFarland out of there.
Yeah, I think he loved the guy, but it just wasn't working. I was reading an article and they talked they were talking about another retired player, Kurt Warner, who's on Sirius XM for games. I think that would be interesting. Bring him in to sort of call Monday night games. I think
I would definitely feel like that would be a great personality to have. I would like that addition. I haven't seen that, but I would like that.
yeah, I think this was a good first episode, and thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week on Erie Shores with Jack Nicholas and Nick Dawson. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a new title coming here
Yeah,
soon.
Nick. Yeah.
Maybe we're gonna have a featured guest.
Okay.
Time will tell. Time will
Okay.
tell.
All right. See you guys next time.